Hey folks, Vortex here and welcome to my review of the KZ Krila. So quite a unique set. As you can see, it's got the tuning switches. It's a BA, as in a balanced armature and a dynamic driver, and I'm sure these are around the $16 mark, but I'll have to confirm that. But yeah, as usual, full disclaimers, I'd like to thank KZ and CCA themselves for sending me this unit. I was not paid to do this video and all thoughts and opinions are my own. And these are priced very aggressively for what they can do, as in the tuning switches. And yeah, I'll see you in the next clip. So a closer look at the actual packaging, bit of information there. You can always pause the video if you want to read that. So no mic, so some specs. So it does affect the impedance of 28 to 36. Obviously you can see sensitivities there. Live is quite normal, so I'm quite curious of the impedance changes. So again, the shell looks very similar to the whenever you watch this, the CCA Duo. So these include foam tips as well. I like the subtle. Just to see the driver there, all the switches here. So they should be kind of symmetrical. So let's do it. So back to back would be like that. So yeah, so they're not flipped, so that's like that, you can see. So yeah, obviously they're all in the up switches, so I'll have to see what that's like. That might be a bit of a nightmare to graph, but we'll figure it out. So some tips in there, so with the normal silicone, and this should be kind of the normal kind of KZ cable, which works fine. Let's have a look. Yeah, so as you can see, the normal kind of cable. So yeah, so I'll try these out. I'm quite curious of all the switches. You can see the DDs right there. The armature might be in the nozzle. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, this might be a bit of a nightmare to graph, but we'll see. So yeah, quite curious of this. They're very cheap to buy. I'm sure they're around $16, and yeah, I'll see you in the future. So welcome to my review section of the KZ Krila. And one thing I did forget to mention, this is also in the box. So you use this obviously to change the the switches, which I'll show you in a bit. So it's basically a SIM tool. So yeah, don't forget about that. So obviously this is what it looks like on the cable. It's standard KZ basically, and that's what it looks like on there. And obviously there's the switches, which I'll show you in a bit. So just take these off. Also, it does come with foams, and the foams, basically compared to the silicone, it's just slightly smoother treble, and that's basically it really. So switches, so I'll just you can have a better look. So there's a lot. So there you are. So I put them all. So on the graph, you're seeing a bit. I've labelled the top and I've labelled bottom. So what I mean by that is, when they're all towards the top, that is. When they're all towards the bottom, it's when they're all switched down. So there you can see it. Obviously it's quite complex what's going on in there. So build quality on these is okay. These are priced $16, no mic, $17 mic, but for that it's actually perfectly fine. Comfort on these is okay. Sometimes they don't feel that secure, but it is what it is, unfortunately. And the BA is in the nozzle, so just bear that in mind. So timbre of these it could do with it being improving. I think the problem is the armature is in the nozzle. You can't really, I'll try and show you. Oh, you can see it. So you can see there's the armature. So the timbre on these is not as good as I'd say as the single dynamic driver models, but it is what it is. So but yeah, timbre could be better. Resolution on these is, again, it's okay. It's a single. I think the BA is doing a lot of the work. So the resolution, it's okay. It's it's fine for what the cost, but it's nothing special. Same for Technicalities. It's okay for what they are. Soundstage is, again, it's okay. I'd like it bigger. It can sometimes feel a bit closed. Again, I think it's because of the armature. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And yeah, obviously you can see the dynamic driver. It does look harder to see, but there's a lot going on in there, especially so you can see there. And yeah, so sound. I'll overlay the graph now so you can have a look. So basically, I've graphed, say, all top and all bottom. If you use any other variation of that, the bass will be between those. So I've done it basically the extremes of the settings, the highest and lowest. So yeah, so bass on these is obviously depending what you pick. I prefer obviously the elevated one compared to the other one. Does have decent enough impact. It's a KZ I'm always quite happy with how they perform for low end normally. And yeah, it's fine. It's nothing amazing, but it's the DD texture is fine. He has enough impact. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So mid range is a bit thin, as you can see. It all depends on what your genre is, but I prefer a small amount of bleed to give it more body. But it is a bit thin, and it can sometimes sound a bit unnatural as well. So just bear that in mind. And apart from that, the gain's fine, slightly forward mid range, but he's actually okay. I didn't really have anything special about it. Female vocals was better than male, and that's pretty much it. So treble. Now, if you check these graphs separately, mine is a little bit of imbalance. Obviously, when I've put them both together on the graph, it averages out, so bear that in mind. So it is forward in the lower treble. Now, I did find these a little bit sibilant. It just depends, again, on your experience, your source and stuff like that. But there was a bit sibilant. And the 8K peak is fake. So it's not a real one, and that's pretty much it. I like a bit more extension and a bit less lower treble. That's just my preference. And I think that's pretty much it. So the treble is okay. You know, these are an average, I'd say they're not a bad set. For $16 for these kind of actual tuning switches is great value for money, really. But as a product, it's okay. I prefer normally the KZ do the single DDs, or even multi BAs. I think the AS16, that was a pretty good set. I haven't tried none for a while, but yeah, treble is okay. It's nothing special. I'd like to say more extension, but that's my preference. I prefer a DD compared to a hybrid, and I prefer when the BA is not in the nozzle. Yeah, so I'll probably get to the conclusion. So, conclusion is, do I like this kind of product? As a product for $16, $17, it is great value for money getting, you know, stuff like this where you can it actually does make a difference to the tuning, but the overall tuning is average, I'd say, really. I do prefer a single DD, but value for money is good. The tuning is okay, and I like that it actually makes a difference. But the timbre could be a bit better. I don't like the elevated lower treble. That's my preference. I'd like a little bit more extension because it does fall off. Obviously, the 8K is fake. But for the $16, they're okay. They're just nothing special. They're not they're not like the $1,000 killer item like they advertise this. They're not that, but for $16, $17, like they're okay. It just depends if you want something like this, and obviously you can play around with the tuning. Obviously, like I said in the graph, it showed the extremes of the highest or the lowest. And that's it. I think that might be pretty much it. They're not a bad set. It's just nothing amazing. But I do like the value for money that this offers you, so just bear that in mind. And I'll probably end it there. So if you know anything particular about these, please do let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you in the next video.